Hey everyone, I'm Sam from Seniors Gardening Advice, and I've got something that's going to completely change how your garden looks next spring. Most people think winter is when gardening stops, but that's actually when the magic happens. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly which plants to cut back right now so they explode with healthy growth when warm weather arrives. If you love having a vibrant, thriving garden, please hit that subscribe button right now, and don't forget to like this video because it helps so many other gardeners discover these secrets. Let's get started. Why winter pruning matters. When winter arrives and your garden looks bare and gray, something incredible is happening beneath the surface. Your plants aren't dead or sleeping in a way that means nothing is going on. Instead, they're storing up energy and getting ready for the explosive growth that comes with spring. This is exactly why winter is the perfect time to prune. Think of winter pruning like giving your plants a haircut before they go to their most important event. You're removing the old, weak, and damaged parts so all the plant's strength can go into creating fresh, vibrant new growth. When you prune during winter dormancy, you're also preventing a problem called sap bleeding. This happens when you cut branches during the growing season and sap flows out of the cuts. That bleeding can actually invite pests and diseases into your plants. But when plants are dormant in winter, this doesn't happen nearly as much. Winter pruning also gives you a clear view of your plant's structure. Without all those leaves in the way, you can actually see what you're doing. You can identify crossing branches, dead wood, and areas where the plant needs reshaping. It's like looking at the skeleton of your plant instead of being distracted by all the leafy clothing covering it up. If you're watching this and thinking about getting your garden in shape this winter, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss my gardening tips. These videos are designed specifically for people who want a healthy, beautiful outdoor space without overcomplicating things. Plant number 1, the apple tree. Let's start with fruit trees, and I'm going to focus on apple trees because so many of you have them in your yards. Apple trees, along with many other fruit trees, actually need pruning during their dormant period. This happens from late winter right into early spring, depending on where you live. Here's why this timing matters so much. When your apple tree has no leaves on it during winter, you can see exactly what you're working with. The tree's structure becomes obvious. You can spot branches that are dead or damaged and remove them safely. You can also eliminate branches that are crossing over each other or growing in weird directions. When you get rid of these unnecessary branches, the tree can put all its energy into producing new, healthy growth once spring arrives. Another big reason to prune apple trees in winter instead of summer is that sap bleeding issue I mentioned. During the dormant season, your apple tree isn't pushing sap up through its branches the way it does in spring and summer. This means fewer pests will be attracted to your cuts, and there's less chance of disease entering through those open wounds. It's simple science that makes a huge difference in tree health. When you're pruning your apple tree, focus on removing anything that looks dead or diseased first. Then step back and look at the overall shape. You want light to reach the center of the tree so air can circulate. This prevents fungal problems and helps the tree produce more fruit next season. Don't forget to share this with anyone who has fruit trees in their neighborhood. Comment down below and let me know what fruit trees you're growing. Your comments help me know what gardening topics matter most to you. Plant number 2, the Japanese maple. Japanese maples are absolutely stunning trees, and if you have one, you probably want to keep it healthy and looking beautiful. The good news is that these trees don't need a lot of pruning compared to other plants, but when you do prune them, winter is definitely the best time. Why winter? Because that's when you can actually see what you're working with. In summer and fall, all those delicate, colorful leaves hide the tree's structure from view. In winter, you can see every branch clearly. This makes it much easier to spot any branches that are dead, damaged, or crossing over other branches. Crossing branches can rub against each other and create weak points where disease can enter. Another benefit of pruning Japanese maples in winter is that bleeding is minimal. Even though these trees are called bleeders because they do lose some sap when cut, the amount of bleeding is much less in winter. Plus, because the tree is completely dormant, pruning causes far less stress to the plant overall. The tree isn't trying to grow or flower, so it has the resources to heal the cuts you make. When you're pruning a Japanese maple, be gentle and selective. You're not trying to reshape it dramatically. Instead, you're just removing the problem branches and maybe opening up the canopy a bit to let light in. Make your cuts clean and close to the branch collar, which is the slightly raised area where a branch meets the trunk or main limb. If you've got a Japanese maple or are thinking about getting one, let me know in the comments. These are my favorite shade trees, and I'd love to hear about yours. Plant number 3, the butterfly bush. Butterfly bushes are some of the most rewarding plants to grow. They bloom for months, they attract butterflies and bees, and they're pretty tough plants overall. But they do need pruning, and getting the timing right makes all the difference. Some gardeners prune their butterfly bushes in the fall, but I'm going to tell you why winter is actually better. Butterfly bushes have this interesting characteristic where they bloom on new wood. That means the flowers that grow next spring and summer will come from branches you haven't even seen yet. They'll grow fresh from the pruned plant starting in spring. Here's the practical benefit of knowing this. Anything you cut back on your butterfly bush during winter doesn't affect next season's blooms at all. You're not removing any flower buds because those buds haven't formed yet. They'll form on the new growth that comes after you prune. This gives you real freedom with how much you can cut back. For a typical butterfly bush, cut it back by about 1/3 of its height. This encourages tons of new growth in spring and keeps the plant looking full and vigorous. If you've got a butterfly bush that's gotten really large and is taking over part of your garden, you can actually cut it all the way down to ground level in winter. It might seem drastic, but I promise you it will come back strong and healthier than before. The timing window is important, though. You want to do this cutting while the plant is still dormant. In my region, that's typically January through early March, but it depends on where you live. The key sign is that the plant should have no leaves on it yet. Do you grow butterfly bushes? What colors do you have? Tell me in the comments section. And don't forget to subscribe if you're learning something new today. Plant number 4, the Rose of Sharon. Rose of Sharon is a wonderful plant that a lot of people don't know about. It's actually a type of hibiscus, but unlike its tropical cousins, it can handle cold winters. This makes it perfect for people who live in areas with real seasons. It goes dormant every fall and loses all its leaves, staying bare through winter and into early spring. This dormancy period is exactly when you should prune your Rose of Sharon. The timing is actually really important with this plant. If you wait and prune after the plant leafs out in spring, you risk cutting off flower buds that have already formed. Those buds are your blooms for the season. Pruning too late means fewer flowers. So get your pruning done while the plant is completely bare and dormant. Your goal is to thin out the oldest stems to encourage new younger growth to develop. Older stems get woody and don't produce as many flowers. Younger, more flexible stems produce more blooms and look better too. Here's a technique tip that makes a difference. When you make your cuts, cut at a 45-degree angle just above a node that faces outward. A node is where leaves would have grown, and an outward-facing node is one that points away from the center of the plant. This encourages the new growth to spread out naturally, rather than growing inward and getting tangled. The result is a Rose of Sharon that looks more open and airy, produces more flowers, and stays healthier overall because air can circulate through it. These plants can really shine in late summer when many other things have stopped blooming. Have you ever grown a Rose of Sharon? Let me know in the comments what color yours is, or if you're thinking about planting one. And seriously, if this video is helpful, please share it with a friend who gardens.
Plant number 5, the hydrangea. Hydrangeas are popular with a lot of gardeners because they're beautiful and come in so many varieties. But here's something a lot of people get wrong. Not all hydrangeas should be pruned the same way. The timing and method depend on the type you have. Specifically, winter pruning is best for 2 types of hydrangeas. The first is panicle hydrangea, which produces big cone-shaped flower clusters. The second is smooth hydrangea, which has rounder flower shapes. Both of these types have something in common that makes winter pruning safe. They grow on new wood from the current season. What does that mean? It means the flowers that appear next summer will grow from branches that develop after you prune in winter. You're not cutting off any flower buds. This is different from some other hydrangea varieties that form their flower buds the previous year, which means you'd ruin your blooms if you pruned them in winter. For smooth hydrangeas, you can be pretty aggressive with your pruning. Cut them back to about 1 foot from the ground. I know that sounds severe, but they bounce back beautifully. For panicle hydrangeas, trim about 1/3 of the height of the branches. This is less severe, but still gives you good results. Why do this pruning? Because it encourages more vigorous new growth in spring. The plant puts all its energy into developing new stems and branches, which means more flowers and a fuller-looking plant overall. You're also removing any dead or weak wood that the plant doesn't need anyway. If you have other types of hydrangeas, like big-leaf hydrangeas that bloom on old wood, check your specific variety before pruning. Different hydrangeas have different needs. I've got other videos on my channel that go deeper into hydrangea care if you want to learn more. What type of hydrangeas do you have? Blue, pink, white? Drop a comment and tell me about your hydrangeas. And if you found this information helpful, please hit that subscribe button and share this with someone else who loves hydrangeas.
Plant number 6, the Wisteria. Wisteria is one of those plants that people either love or can't believe they planted because it gets so big and wild. It's a vigorous vine that can cover fences, pergolas, and arbors with beautiful cascading flowers, but it needs pruning, especially if you want to keep it under control. Winter is when you should do your heavy pruning on Wisteria. The vine goes completely dormant and loses all its leaves, which means you can see every single stem and branch clearly. You can see which vines are dead or damaged and remove them. You can spot branches that are crossing over each other or growing in directions that don't work for your structure. When you look at a wisteria vine in winter, you might be surprised by how tangled and crowded it looks. This is totally normal. Wisteria grows aggressively, and it doesn't naturally keep itself organized. Your winter pruning job is to shorten the side shoots and thin out any overcrowded branches. This opens up the structure and lets you shape the vine the way you want it to grow. Here's something important about certain types of wisteria. Some varieties are more aggressive than others. These aggressive types actually benefit from being pruned twice a year. You can prune them again right after they flower in spring or early summer, and then do your heavy pruning again in winter. This double pruning strategy helps control their spreading nature and keeps them from taking over your entire garden. Wisteria can actually break structures if it gets too heavy, so keeping it pruned isn't just about making it look nice, it's about protecting your fence or pergola from being damaged by the weight of unchecked growth. Are you growing wisteria? Does it behave itself, or has it tried to take over? Tell me your wisteria stories in the comments. I'd love to hear about your experiences with this beautiful but aggressive vine. Plant number 7, the holly bush. Holly bushes are fantastic plants, especially if you want some color in your winter garden. They keep their leaves year-round, and in winter, the berries add a cheerful pop of color when everything else looks gray and brown. Holly is one plant where winter pruning is absolutely the best time. Why? Because winter is when you can do heavy pruning without stressing the plant. The plant is dormant, so it's not trying to grow or flower. It has all its energy stored up to heal the cuts you make. When you do heavy pruning during active growing season, you're asking the plant to grow and heal at the same time, which stresses it out. Winter pruning of holly also encourages new growth right before the growing season begins. You remove all the dead and damaged branches, open up the plant so air and light can reach into the center, and the plant comes out of dormancy ready to put all its strength into creating fresh, vigorous new stems and branches. Here's a timing note that matters. Avoid pruning holly in late summer or early fall. If you prune during this time, the new growth that comes out afterward might get damaged when cold weather arrives. But in winter, you're safe, because the growth that comes out in spring will be timed perfectly with warm weather. Light pruning for shaping and maintenance can happen at other times of year, like late spring or early summer. But for heavy pruning and structural work, winter is definitely your window.
Holly bushes come in lots of varieties with different growth habits. Some are tall and narrow, some are broad and spreading, some have smooth leaves, and some have really spiky leaves. Whatever type you have, winter is the time to give it the pruning attention it needs. Have you got holly bushes in your yard? What type do you have? Let me know in the comments, and please share this video with anyone else who's trying to figure out when to prune their holly.
Plant number 8, the Abelia. Abelia is a plant that a lot of gardeners underestimate. It's low maintenance, it tolerates drought, it produces small fragrant flowers that bloom from spring all the way into fall, and it's pretty adaptable. You'll often see Abelia planted along house foundations because it looks nice and doesn't cause problems. But Abelia has one issue that comes up over time. It can get leggy and overgrown. Leggy means it develops long stretches of bare stem with leaves only at the ends. Overgrown means it just keeps spreading and getting bigger without filling in nicely. The good news is that winter pruning takes care of both these problems. When you prune Abelia in winter, you can remove dead branches that aren't contributing anymore, you can improve air circulation throughout the plant by opening it up and removing crossing branches, and you can encourage fuller, bushier growth by cutting back the longer stems. All of this makes the plant look better and actually keeps it healthier. The timing of Abelia pruning is important. You want to do your major pruning in winter before any new growth starts. This way, you're not cutting off new growth that's just starting to develop. Winter pruning also makes sure you're not removing any of the flowers the plant will produce later in the year. Abelia is tough and forgiving. It bounces back nicely from pruning, so don't be shy about cutting it back if it's gotten too big or too leggy. The more you prune, the fuller and bushier it becomes. One last thing about Abelia. It's a great plant for people who want something attractive but don't want to spend all their time maintaining it. Prune it once in winter, give it water during really dry spells, and it pretty much takes care of itself. Do you have Abelia in your landscape? Have you found it as low maintenance as everyone says? Tell me about your Abelia experience in the comments. Alright, so we've covered 8 different plants that benefit from winter pruning, and if you've got even one of these in your garden, now you know exactly when and how to prune it. Let me recap the basic idea. Winter pruning happens when plants are dormant, which means you can see what you're doing, the plant heals without stress, and you're getting it ready for incredible spring growth. Here's what I want you to do right now. First, look at your garden and identify which of these 8 plants you have. Do you have apple trees, Japanese maples, butterfly bushes? Figure out what's in your yard. Then, if your area is in the dormant season right now, get out there and do that pruning. Your plants will thank you in spring. Second, I really want you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Every week I share gardening tips and advice that makes it easier to have a beautiful, healthy outdoor space. Click that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Third, like this video if you found it helpful. When you like videos, it tells the algorithm that people are finding value here, and it helps other gardeners discover these tips. Fourth, leave a comment. Tell me which of these plants you have. Tell me if you've already started pruning. Ask any questions you have about winter pruning. I read every single comment, and I love connecting with the gardening community. Fifth, share this video. Send it to a friend, share it in a gardening group, post it anywhere you think someone might benefit from knowing about winter pruning. Sharing helps grow this community of gardeners who care about having beautiful outdoor spaces. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sam from Seniors Gardening Advice, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll keep making your garden healthier and happier. Enjoy your pruning, and happy gardening, everyone!